right, good evening, everybody. It's always nice to have so many friends of the university here tonight. Welcome to the 26th Annual Penguin Club Scholarship Ring Banquet. My name is Rob Schmidt. I'll be the host for the evening. Just a couple of reminders as we move through the program tonight. Please turn your cell phones off or turn them to vibrate so that we do not interrupt any of our speakers here tonight. Also, you are allowed to tweet. For those of you who do that, Trevor Parks has mentioned if you'd like to, you can use the hashtag YSU Ring. Ralph Fajak is Mr. Selfie. If he wants to take a picture, he's more than welcome to do so. Don't put me in any of those, but I expect to see a few on Facebook tomorrow morning. Really? Already? All right, once again, we want to thank you for sharing your evening here with us tonight at Mr. Anthony's. It's always a great evening. I'm just happy there's no snow. I think a lot of people felt the event was going to be last Tuesday when we got snowed in. Fortunately, it's tonight, and we didn't have any road conditions to deal with. Also, thanks to Mr. Malmaser. Where's Joe Mal tonight? Did not make it tonight. We want to thank him. This is really his brainchild, or at least he's the guy that takes credit for it. 26 years ago, he came up with the idea, and it has flourished ever since, and we want to thank him for his foresight. This past year, we had 4 different teams for our athletic department here at Youngstown State win a Horizon League championship. Women's tennis, women's golf, women's indoor track and field, and the women's outdoor track and field teams. So now the Penguin Club has a lot of rings to buy for them. In fact, our women's tennis team is here tonight with head coach Mikkel Sopel, his staff, and those ladies, please stand. Same goes for our women's golf team and their head coach, Nate Miklas. Along with our women's track and field teams led by head coach Brian Gorby and his staff. Overall, there are more than 350 student athletes here at Youngstown State. However, they're all obviously not here tonight. But those who are here, would our student athletes please stand? When we help recruit a lot of these young adults to Youngstown State, we use this banquet as one of our recruiting tools. It's important for our student athletes to get to know the friends of the university. And we talk about this event, along with our Scholar Athlete Banquet in May, as important parts of the learning process at Youngstown State. And it's so nice to have our student athletes here tonight. And you know, if you would now, please pay attention to the video screens in a minute when they take my big head off of it. We have a community service video with highlights from this past year, produced by both Elaine Jacobs and Brandon Ross. Again, those are just some of the places that our student athletes have been for their community service. I'm just glad the music came up because I know I wasn't singing to undercut those videos because it would have been dead without the music, and I'm not singing it. Thanks to Brandon Ross, though, for his work on that video. Also, thanks to everybody here at Mr. Anthony's tonight for their hospitality once again. Always a great meal. Let's have a nice round of applause for the staff and management at Mr. Anthony's. Thanks to Cavelli Enterprises for its support again of this year's Scholarship Ring Banquet. Thanks to Birkeland Flowers for the beautiful centerpieces once again. Also Commercial Printing that put together our program for tonight's festivities. We appreciate the work of LED3, which is here again tonight, and the use of its video screens, along with Greg Roten, who's in the back from Armstrong, for recording tonight's banquet. If you can't get enough of it tonight, it'll be shown again on Armstrong channels 20 and 100. Before we bring up our first guest speaker of the night, though, a couple other people we want to recognize, just kind of introduce. You know most all of them, but we'll go through the theatrics. Executive Director of Athletics here at YSU, Ron Strollo. Associate Athletic Directors, Elaine Jacobs and Rick Love. Tom Morella and Jim Morrison for their work coordinating tonight's events, if those guys would all stand, one and all. Also, all of our head coaches who are here tonight, would you please stand and be recognized, as well as the rest of our athletic staff here at Youngstown State. Don't be shy. All right, it's now my privilege to bring up our first speaker, former Penguin of the Year, needs little, if any, introduction, especially because he likes to keep this thing moving. He's been giving me a time limit of 8:15 tonight. The president of Youngstown State University, Jim Tressel.
Thanks so much, Rob. I didn't say you had to have it done at 8:15, just if you want to stay employed, you know. Rob is right. Joe Malmasur and Ray Travellini and Jim Morrison and Arnold Collins and Dave Deibel and so many people decided way back when that we needed to get the community together to celebrate excellence and that we needed the community's help. And it's just amazing how the individuals and the businesses and so many people have come together for so long to celebrate the excellence of the Youngstown State University Athletic Department and their champions. And so on behalf of the entire Youngstown State University family, we thank all of you for that. We appreciate it. It's so good to see all of our student athletes here and representing their teams. We're so proud of Ron Strollo and Elaine Jacobs and all of the folks that kind of came through the ranks, started as players and then became administrators and now have taken over the tradition and have great pride in what we do here. And it's really a thrilling thing to see. You can't go to too many colleges, universities, that have an event like this every year. It just doesn't happen, and we appreciate it so much. My job is to make it brief, so I would like to introduce, we have members, if you could hold your applause, we have members of our Board of Trustees here. Carol Weimer is our chair. Why don't you stand, Carol? Len Chavone. Bryce Miner is somewhere, one of our student board members. We have John Jacobek. We have Franklin Bennett. And am I missing any other? Oh, Dave Deibel. That's right, Dave Deibel. How about a hand for our Board of Trustees? We have a couple of our vice presidents and leaders at the university, our provost and and vice president for academic affairs, Martin Abraham, our vice president for finance, and whatever it's called. I don't know, how do you call it, Neil? Finance and business affairs, whatever. Neil McNally. How about a hand for these two of our leaders? And I'll end by saying that we were blessed to see many, many people whose passion was all about the Penguins, whatever they could do to help us be great, but no one that I've ever been around had any more passion for us to be successful, to represent the university, to represent the Valley, to represent sport in general than Dave Deibel. So we're excited that David's being honored this evening. We're excited that Holly has been willing to put up with him. And this is going to be a special night for us all. So thanks so much. God bless, and go Penguins.
Still good to see the checks and balances in the Tressel household are held up by Ellen, who made sure he didn't miss anybody on the board. Also, Neil, real quick, two pieces of business I want to clear up. Earlier, before we started tonight, I mentioned that there was a lost set of keys. They have been found, okay? And that silver BMW has been moved. Neil got excited. He drives one, thought it was his car getting towed. It was not, but we still may tow it by the end of the night just for fun, if he doesn't increase the athletic budget. All right? No, seriously, increase the athletic budget. As many of you know, it's an athletic department here at Youngstown State that's driven by the Penguin Club and its members. And we're all happy that they are here tonight and can put together events like this one to help give our student athletes a better chance to succeed. And while most of you are already members in this room, those of you who are not need to join as soon as possible. The president of the Penguin Club is here tonight with Scott Schulick. Please come forward and talk a little bit more about the importance of becoming a member of our Penguin Club.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 26th Annual Penguin Club Scholarship Ring Banquet. Thank you for your continued support of this event as we celebrate our student athletes. As many of you know, I write my own material, but if you don't like the length or the content of my remarks, please blame Tom Morella because he gave me all of these talking points. First and foremost, I want to extend congratulations to Dave Deibel, Penguin of the Year and a former colleague of mine when I served on the YSU Board of Trustees. There is no doubt that Dave Deibel is the foremost YSU Penguin. Every fiber of his being has been dedicated to Youngstown State University and particularly our athletic programs for probably longer than many of us in this room have been alive. Dave, your love and support for the university is an example for all of us and a legacy that will be hard to match. Intercollegiate athletics is the front door of the university. It is where many people encounter YSU for the first time, and for some, where they encounter YSU for the only time. Our athletic programs and student athletes are an integral part of the quality of life of our community. Athletic events are rallying points for community pride. Athletics brings individuals and potential students to campus for various team camps, and our student athletes and teams help the community through their service, such as school visits, hospital visits, spaghetti dinner volunteers, team clinics, and holiday projects, as you saw in that wonderful video. At this time, I would like to recognize and ask Penguin Club board members in attendance tonight to stand and be recognized for their unwavering participation and support of our Penguin athletic program. Penguin Club board members. For those of you who are unaware, the Penguin Club was founded in 1974 and has grown significantly over the years. And in 2016, we have a record number of memberships in the history of the Penguin Club, with our Penguin Club endowment now exceeding $1 million, and that's after the market decline the last few weeks. During the past year, in addition to this event and membership, the Penguin Club has hosted the following fundraising events: our scholarship golf outing, our bocce social event, the Jamboree reverse raffle and auction, and our football alumni, a very special group, has hosted a golf outing and a tailgate blast, just to name a few of their activities. The Penguin Club supported the Stambaugh Stadium lighting project with a loan of over $600,000 this past year. We instituted a new Penguin Club student organization, the Penguin PAC, and provided 3 stipends to the student organizers. I'd like to recognize these student organizers in attendance: Carly Bergdorf, Sean Meditz, and Bryce Miner. Would you please stand? Annually, the Penguin Club contributes $40,000 to the athletic department for the purchase of technology items such as computers, servers, video equipment for our staff and our student athletes. And we provide financial support for each team's ending season banquet. We provide stipends to YSU student assistants in the YSU athletic marketing and sports information areas. So as you can see, the annual investment you make in your membership pays continuous dividends supporting a variety of activities outside the operating budget for intercollegiate athletics. And there's no shortage of upcoming events. Mark the date for the annual Scholar Athlete Banquet on April 26th in Kilcawley Center. There's also save the date cards on your table for the Scholarship Golf Outing on June 8th and the Bocce Social on July 17th. We hope to see you all there. In closing, being a YSU fan is the first and foremost responsibility for all of us here in the Mahoning Valley. Sure, maybe you support your alma mater if it's not YSU, and at times maybe another Ohio school. But most important, be a YSU fan first. Wear your colors with pride, and everything else and everybody else comes second to YSU. On behalf of the Penguin Club, thank you very much, and go Penguins.
All right, our next speaker is the pride of Cardinal Mooney High School. Now, that could be a lot of people in this room, but I'll narrow it down real quick for you. Okay, he's entering his second season as our head football coach. That narrows it down. Would you please welcome head coach Bo Pelini.
I want to thank everybody for being here and all your support. You know, having been here, really just finished up my first year here, and spending a whole year and getting a chance to know a lot more people than I did when I stood in front of you a year ago. You come to appreciate what Youngstown State is all about, and it's about people like yourselves who really go above and beyond supporting our program, supporting all the athletic programs in the university itself, and not only people like Dave Deibel and the Penguin Club and the Board of Trustees and everybody else involved, but the community itself. And it makes me really feel that much more fortunate to be in the position I'm in and be able to come back here, come back to my hometown and be a part of something that I believe is very special. And I can't tell you, how honored I am and how passionate I am about doing a better job than I did a year ago. And and there's a tradition of excellence here, not only in a football program, but you look across the school, the different programs that have won championships last year, who really are a lot more deserving, really should be standing up in front of you a lot more so than I am right now because at the end of the day, I didn't do my job last year to the level which you deserve and the level which I'm capable. So, and I'm passionate about getting that done. We have a great group of young men in our program, kids who are doing things the right way, who are learning, who are really moving forward and trying to do everything possible to bring this football program back to the top. That's what I'm committed to doing. That's what you all deserve, and really that's what you should all expect. You know, having been here for a year, I've gotten everything. We as a staff, we as a football program have gotten everything we need, from President Tressel to Ron Strollo to the Penguin Club and everybody involved. And I couldn't ask for anything more. It's been a great experience so far, and one where at the end of the day, it's fun to come to work every day. Having been at some bigger programs, obviously, with more resources. I say bigger programs, really just more resources, more money, things that you come to appreciate the job of the staff and what people do here at Youngstown State, because you have the same things that have to be accomplished on a daily basis, but a lot less hands to get it done. And the commitment that everybody has shown is, to me, is second to none. And it's really something really good to be a part of. The teamwork, really just the camaraderie that we have, to me is something very special. And your expectation should be exactly what mine is, and that is to win championships, really in all the sports, but in particular in the football program. And I'm, like I said, I'm passionate about getting that done. Sometimes, as you've seen, sometimes too passionate. But but that's, you know, it's part of the deal when you hired me. but I joke about that because, you know, like at the end of the day, like I said, we have really, really good kids in our program. Kids that are that work hard. I want to recognize one of them right now, and you're going to hear from him here in a little bit. But Steve Zaborsky, please stand up. This is the type of young man, you know, you're going to hear about him, and this is the type of young man that, to me, is a representative of what we want our football program to be about. Somebody who's a leader, who's not only displays excellence in how he prepares in football, how he goes about his daily business, how he played on the football field, but what he's done in the classroom. And let me tell you, he just graduated, and anybody who wants to take a step up with in the organization, he's an engineer, you want to get this young man as part of your team because he's something special. So I just want to recognize Steve. But we have a lot of tremendous young men and kids that make up our program, and kids that are leaders, who are learning, who really want nothing more than to bring this program back to the top. The effort's there. At the end of the day, I got to do my job better. I got to represent this program better. I have to coach them better. And I believe we have all the resources to get this done. And with you guys all coming, staying behind us, and us working together, I believe that not only can we make the playoffs, but we should be playing for the national championship. That's what the expectation should be. That's what I came back here to do, and that's what we're going to work day and night to try to get done. So I appreciate all your support once again, and look forward to a great upcoming season. We got spring ball right around the corner, and our kids are looking forward to that in the summer. And for me, as far as I'm concerned, September can't roll around quick enough. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you all are too. So have a great night, and go Penguins.
Where'd that laugh come from? That kind of scared me there for a minute. I haven't seen you laugh like that in a year. That was funny. Don't yell at me tomorrow in the office now, all right? Just all having fun. Neil, we need a bigger budget. Now look, the best part of this evening, oh, hey, first, by the way, 2016 YSU football tickets are on sale now. Make sure you get them for this year. We open up Thursday night against Duquesne. Best of luck, Coach. You know, one of the best parts of this evening is the opportunity, like Coach had mentioned, to hear from our student athletes personally and to get their accounts of what makes it so special to be a part of this family at Youngstown State. And, you know, each year we're never disappointed by their stories or by their tales. And really, this is what I look forward to the most. And our first student athlete is a senior on the YSU softball team. She's one of only 4 players to earn back-to-back first-team All-Horizon League honors, and is one of only 30 candidates in the country up for the 2016 Senior Class Award that recognizes the top NCAA softball players who excel both on and off the field. She was the 2014 Horizon League Co-Player of the Year and currently ranks among the top 10 in YSU history for career stolen bases, career batting average, runs scored, career slugging percentage, career home runs, and runs batted in. Would you please welcome Miranda Castiglione.
Good evening, parents, sponsors, coaches, support staff, and fellow athletes. My name is Miranda Castiglione, and I am a senior on the Youngstown State women's softball team. On behalf of the women's softball team and all other Youngstown student athletes, I would like to thank you for your continuous generosity and support. Without all of you, the athletes at Youngstown State wouldn't have the opportunity to be part of such a strong athletic program and community. I would also like to give an extended thank you to the Youngstown State Penguin Club and supporters, because without you, none of this would be possible. I am extremely proud and honored to be a member and a captain of the Youngstown State women's softball team. Coming to Youngstown from Brampton, Ontario, Canada, was challenging, but my teammates and the Youngstown community made it easier right from the start. Whether it was hanging out in the dorms freshman year, the long bus rides to and from our tournaments, the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into practice, or our quirky cheers during the games, I have never experienced a dull moment with these girls by my side. Being at Youngstown State has not only provided me with lifelong friends, but with friends whom I can consider to be family. The memories that I've created here are ones that I'll be able to take with me and cherish forever. The strengths of each individual player on our team are what allow us to be such a cohesive group. The chemistry that I have experienced through my 4 years here as a Division I softball player is something that could never be replaced. So at this moment, I would like to thank our head coach, Brian Campbell, not only for giving me the opportunity to play at such an amazing school, but for your continuous support and push to make us the best players that we can possibly be. You are not only dedicated to this sport, but also dedicated to preparing your players for what is to come after college, and that is something that I will always admire. Although I would like to think that you are Superman, you would not be able to do this without the help of your assistants, Coach C and Coach Q. So in saying that, thank you to the both of you. I can stand here and I can talk about how blessed I am to be part of such an amazing program and all the memories that I've created over the past 4 years, but I'm sure that there will be another time for that. So next, I would like to congratulate all of the teams receiving rings for grasping the Horizon League Championship titles. Your hard work and dedication to each sport is inspiring to all of the other athletes, and I can only hope that my team will be in your situation next year at this time. All athletes continue to work hard and make all of the Youngstown State supporters and fans proud. Enjoy the ride here at Youngstown State because it will be over before you know it. My coach once told me, accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be. And to this day, this is a quote that I share with everyone around me and try to incorporate it into every aspect of my life. Through your career, you're going to face situations that may seem unfair or like they aren't ever going to get better, but in fact, they are only presented to you to make you stronger. So find your purpose and enjoy the ride. Thank you again to all of you who had part in putting this amazing event together and for making it all possible. Although my 4 years here at Youngstown State is quickly coming to an end, I will forever and always be a Youngstown State Penguin. Thank you and have a good evening.
All right, our next student athlete also just concluded, as Coach Polini had mentioned, just continued his playing career here at Youngstown State. He played for the football program after redshirting his first year. He then went on to play 44 games in his 4 seasons as a Penguin. This past year, he registered a career-high 34 tackles, including 15 solos. He was named second-team Academic All-American, becoming the first YSU football player to earn that distinction in 5 years, and just the 4th player to be an Academic All-American here at Youngstown State in the last 20 years. Let's have a nice round of applause for Steve Zaborsky.
Didn't get nervous actually until Coach and Mr. Schmidt and Miranda killing it until I actually get up here. But it's great to see everybody tonight. As it was mentioned, my name is Steve Zaborsky. I'm a member of the football team, and I'm here to represent them. It's amazing how quick 5 years can go. I look out here and I see so many people I've shared experiences with, moments with that you kind of forget about, especially when I was a little bit younger. I took a lot of that stuff for granted, but now I think back on everything, and my experiences here at YSU have been unbelievable. It's a tribute to all of you, why I've had some of the success in my career thus far. So tonight, I have the great honor of speaking on behalf of all student athletes, along with Miranda, and I just want to start off by, the endowments and scholarships are amazing. I am so thankful for everything that all you boosters, supporters, do for us student athletes. It allows us to not only experience, our sports and excel at everything that we do, but also in the classroom. That's really where, now that I'm interviewing at different companies and entering the real world now, I really appreciated everything I had in college even more. The meal plan, I miss it so much already. And I walk by the stadium, and I have too much pride to ask any of the underclassmen for meal swipes here and there, but enjoy it now, trust me. As far as not, bills now, I have to worry about that. And I know a lot of you know about them, and I'm just, starting into that. And it's unbelievable. The responsibility I thought I had, it's times 10 now. But the base that I had here at Youngstown State and the mentors that I have and just the people that, have surrounded me my whole career here, it's made myself as ready as I believe I could be to, indulge in the next part of my career and my life. I want to make sure I make a special appreciation. Sometimes I think it gets overlooked, but to all the support, on game days from all the fans, to everything that goes in behind the scenes kind of. And then also, when we're provided extra meals, the championship rings, awards, and things of that nature. I think that's what really separates this university from others. We're very fortunate here at Youngstown State, and I can't say that enough. And now that I'm on the tail end, like I've already mentioned, I realize that, and I really appreciate that, and that from the bottom of my heart, I mean that. I stand here today proud to say I'm a Penguin, and the number one thing I came tonight to say is this community and this environment has made me a more confident individual in myself. Not only the skills and talents I've developed being an athlete on the field, but also my education. Like it was mentioned earlier, I graduated last May in mechanical engineering, and I interview more confidently now. I network more confidently now. We have so many, this is a networking event, believe it or not. All you student athletes who you're sitting with, you never know who you're going to see, who you're going to cross, and try to make that network reach out to anybody and everybody. And then lastly, I also have wrote down, whenever I get to branch out and meet, other colleagues that are, my peers from other universities, I am so confident in my background here at Youngstown State that, I don't shy away from anybody from any larger university, any more technical university, because I am so proud that I am from Youngstown State, and I know what I have to offer. Thank you. So with that all said, I plan to take everything I've learned and experienced here at YSU, and I plan to hopefully try to be a sales or service engineer. But like I've talked, you never know how it's going to play out, and I'm open to any route that is going to come my way. The funny thing is I'm being completely dead honest and serious. So, a little side note, I didn't even plan on making any jokes tonight. So, but seriously though, I do look up to all you donors and you supporters of us because that's one of my dreams. I've had such a great experience here. Future student athletes, I want to make sure they have the same experience, and I want to be able to donate one day. So hopefully down the road, another 10, 15, sooner the better, obviously, I can give back and help out wherever I can. I will never forget where I come from. So the last thank you I want to give, and I'm sorry if I'm running over time limit, but is just the whole YSU organization, if I haven't already kind of hinted to that fact already. I feel as if I'm a part of this family, and I consider everybody here, a great supporter for myself. So in closing, I want to wish all winter sports and spring sports good luck in their seasons coming up, or if you're in it right now. And congratulations to all other fall sports on their successful seasons, and good luck, in training. And I hope everybody enjoys their night. Thank you.
Right? I thought he was going to say, I'm open to all offers tonight. Any job opportunity out there that you can throw at me right now, I'll take. I'm just glad you knew my name. I thought you were going to look at me and then just go dead, and then I'd have to kind of mimic my mouth to you, like, hey, it's Rob. I know, I see you in the hallways all the time. Didn't know you knew who I was, just some crazy old man walking the hallways. All right, nice job, by the way. Well done, Steve. All right, with that, We'd also like to recognize 5 other YSU students who are here tonight. They are recipients of this year's Chuck Perizich Scholarship and the Burge Family Scholarship. These scholarships are one in honor of the longtime sports editor at the Vindicator, Chuck Perizich, and is also YSU alum Bruce Burge. Now, these students who get this are ones that assist us in the sports information department and the athletic marketing department. Tonight, if they would all please stand, Kyle Kronovich, Brandon Ross, Chris Colella, Lincoln Williams, and Michael Momus. Obviously, they have still a long way to go up the ladder here of importance. That's why we jammed them all the way over there in the corner. They're getting paid to be here. I'm not. Might not be paid tomorrow either. All right, now before we honor our 2016 Penguin of the Year, I would like to recognize our past Penguins of the Year. If they would please stand, and we'll give them a round of applause when we're all said and done with last year's recipients, the Gasser family. Okay, Don Constantini, Dr. Daryl and Vicki Mincy, as well as Reed and Judy Schmutz, Attorney Dennis and Janet Haynes, Doctors Diane and Michael Millador, Mr. and Mrs. Robert and Marilyn O'Leary. I know they're not here, but I still want to mention them as well as Joe and Olga Malmaser, Coach Ed DeGregorio, members of the YSU Football Alumni Group, and Jeff Wilkins. Nice round of applause for our past presidents in attendance tonight. All right, I'd now like to have the president of the YSU Foundation, Paul McFadden, make his way up front. Paul's a proud YSU graduate. He, too, is a past Penguin of the Year. Paul and his staff have done an outstanding job at the foundation. Paul McFadden.
Steve Zaborsky says he wants to be a donor one day. Steve, make sure we have your forwarding address. You said you're heading off. It's a great honor to be here to introduce a great friend, a great supporter of YSU, David Deibel. I look at Holly, I look at some of David's close friends here. They're nervous right now. A brief conversation on the telephone with David's about a half hour. We're about to turn this microphone over to him. So I don't know, President Tressel, that 8:15 might be in jeopardy. Had a great conversation with Dave last week. We reminisced about a 30-year experience he's had here with the YSU Penguin Club. It made me recall my first experience with him. I came back in the early 90s, and Dave was already entrenched with the Penguin Club, and they said, get out to Boardman Steel, you're going to work on a project with Mr. Deibel. So I headed up here on Southern Boulevard, walked in the office, and they said, no, Dave's out back in the shop. I don't know if you've ever been to Boardman Steel, but there's overhead cranes, and there's sparks flying from the welders and hammers, and Dave's in the shop walking a Boy Scout troop through. And it impressed me so much in our first meeting, I don't know if you recall this, how much time he spent, how caring he was. This wasn't a quick, let's run these kids through the shop and I got to get back to work. You know, they punch out this piece of steel that caused a slug. He gave every kid a slug when they went home. It was amazing, the care and how much time and how genuine he was for those kids. I guarantee every one of those kids today remembers that experience. I'm sure they learned as much that day in real life that they could have in 5 days in the classroom. And that was my first experience with Mr. Deibel. And then a few years moved along and still involved with the Penguin Club. And I don't remember what the project was again, but to say, you're heading out to Boardman Steel, you're going to work with Deibel on another project. The years are running away. I don't remember what we're going to work on. So I called Dave and he said, hey, be at my office in the morning. We're going to have a meeting in the car. I said, okay. So I parked the car and got into Dave's truck, and next thing I know, I'm heading to Camp Fitch. I thought we're going to Austintown or something. We're going to Erie, PA. Because David had just donated the climbing wall to Camp Fitch. I don't know how many of you, I know Howdy Friends here. We have some Camp Fitch friends. But up on Beatty Flat, across the street, up in the Heights, is the Deibel climbing tower, and they were still building it. In true to form for David Deibel, you just don't make a donation. You just don't say, I could tell he'd been up there many times inspecting this construction of the Deibel climbing wall. Now that I look back after 20 years, it's neat to think our students in the Andrews Recreation and Wellness Center field trip to the Deibel climbing wall up at Camp Fitch. Again, he didn't just make a donation. He's involved. He's there. He's making sure it's right. How many kids he impacted with that gift. And then really the last experience that cements David Deibel and his love for YSU. Soon after President Tressel headed down south, Ron Strollo has all these logistics for our YSU football teams on the trips. And don't ask me why, but Deibel was like staff. He was entrenched with moving the team. You're moving an army when you move the football team. You arrived at the airport, there was Dave checking you in, loading the bags on the plane. You landed, he got you on the bus. You got to the hotel, I don't know how, but he was already there. He handed you your room key. I mean, he did everything on these trips. I remember one day I'm sitting at my desk, he called me, he was in a hurry, he goes, Mac, how much do you weigh? I said, how much? What do you want to know how much the manifest for the plane. I need to know how much you weigh. I said, you're crazy. So the first year of our former president, Dr. David Sweet, we had a game, I believe it was Illinois State. He said, Paul, we have an alumni event there Friday night. You know, we'll have pregame activities, the game, but then on the way home, you sit next to me. He was brand new. We want to review the list of the top benefactors to our university. It was important to Dr. Sweet. We need to know who our top benefactors are so he can embrace these people. So the game ends. It's pouring rain. It's freezing cold. We get to the airport. Kids are still back showering. We get on the plane. There's just a couple Penguin Club folks, David, or the president and I. And we start going through this list. And you would know these names. These are the most prominent names in our town. Many of them have buildings on campus, and we're going through these very influential names. And we get down the list, and David Deibel. David Deibel, Boardman Steel. And I lean over and look out the window, and I said, he's the guy out there in the rain loading the bags on the plane. Two words exemplify David Deibel in everything he does: loyalty and commitment. There are folks who make generous gifts. There are folks who give of their time. David Deibel does both. In every organization he has touched through the years, whether it be the Scouts, Camp Fitch, I know the Duquesne Club is here today, and certainly YSU and the YSU Penguin Club have been forever impacted because he's committed and he's loyal. Youngstown, Ohio is very fortunate that David Deibel calls this home, and YSU is very fortunate that David Deibel calls YSU his alma mater. It's an honor to call to the podium the 2016 recipient of the YSU Penguin Club Penguin of the Year, Mr. David Deibel.
Before I get started, I would like Jim Morrison to please stand. And don't give me that half stand bull. Stand up, move away from your chair so you can't sit down. One, Rob alluded to it before, back 8 months ago when we talked about this, tonight was not the night. It was last week. So we would have been in a snowstorm if you hadn't changed the date. But more than that, Jim is probably, if not the only one of very few that has had the privilege of not only going to YSU, working there for almost, if I'm not mistaken, this fall will be 55 years between being a student, but he also was there under all 9 presidents. And there's definitely not too many people. So one person that's going to deserve this award one of these days is definitely going to be Jim Morrison. He loves tile. and Granite, can tell you that story. And my dad, when he would introduce him, he always introduced him as the poor man John's Wayne. Jim, thank you for everything you've done. Before I actually do get started, and Jim, we are going to be late. In this day of being politically correct, I figured I better do a little bit of disclosure. I'm not a speaker. You've heard the speakers tonight, even the students. They did a great job. I'm more like Ron Strullo and Morrison. I'm a hacker up here. I don't get to talk too much. But I did have it kind of tough for this because I had to write 3 different speeches. The first speech I had to write was for Ron Strollo and Tommy Morella. Nice, short, sweet. They definitely didn't want me to get the referees upset with us and, just be political. Then I had to turn and write one for my wife and that. And same thing with it. It had to be politically correct, be courteous, and don't offend anybody. Then I turned around and wrote one that I want to talk about. So I want to make sure that everybody goes gets a drink. They already closed the bar. So, sit back, relax. We'll try not to offend too many people, and we'll see what we can do. I've always been told that speeches come from 3 places. They come from either your head, they come from your heart, or they come out your rear. And he says, so tonight, I want you to know mine's coming out of my left pocket. It's not too bad. Good evening. President Tressel, First Lady Ellen Tressel, the Board of Trustees, both present and former ones, all the administration personnel, faculty, the athletic staff, the coaches, the Penguin Club members, the Ice Castle Scholarship Fund members, my buddies at the Duquesne Hunting and Fishing Club, where we're, if you haven't seen it in the program, we're a drinking club with a fishing problem. My friends, family, students, especially the student athletes, and anyone else that I may have missed. I'm asked a lot why I have an interest in YSU. A couple of years ago when I was going to school at YSU, I had a class in the engineering department. I remember the room was on the top floor, south side. I don't remember the name of it, don't remember well, I do remember the teacher's name, but we won't talk about that. And I only really remember one day. And we came into the class that day, and he turned around, and Luke, if you would, please. He wrote some lines on this chalkboard. There you go. Yep, wrong one. Go back one. And everybody, like, what the heck is this? Well, then he explained to us. That's Federal Street, east and west. That's Wick Avenue, and that's Market Street. And he said, downtown Youngstown's going to die. And we laughed. And he said, I'm telling you. He says, Akron is already ahead of us. He says, it's going to die. You people won't be able to recognize it in a couple years. Then he turned around, and he said, we have places down there, Stambaugh Thompson's, McKelvey's, Strauss's, Livingston's, Lustig's. And he said, they're going to be gone. He says, kids, years from now, they won't even know what you're talking about. He says, it's going to be gone, it's going to be dead. Then he turned around, and he says, but we've got some people that are going to help this place. He says, we've got the bankers, we got the attorneys, we got the lawyers, and we have the accountants. And he scribbled on the board just like this looks. Then he turned around and he says, we also have a couple of other items. We've got Northside Hospital, Southside Hospital, St. E's, Gafara, and a lot of you people haven't heard of some of those places. And he says, but we do have one thing, and we have one thing out of all the things we got in this area that can bring them all together. He turned around and said, that one thing is right here in front of you. And everybody in this room is a part of that. And that's Youngstown State University. It definitely took a little bit longer than he thought it would. We're definitely on the right track. Thank you, Luke.
I think there's one more.
One more?
I think there's one more.
Oh, okay. Back in about 10 years ago, hold on a second. They wanted to turn around. The athletic department's always looking for doing stuff. And some guys came up with the idea that we ought to sell the rights to the basketball court. So they were trying to decide what to do, and I have no idea who emailed this to me, but they emailed it to me. So I thought it was appropriate that at some point, this is what our basketball court will look like. So, Nicole, you know what Ronnie's going to do when he retires. Yeah. Thank you, Luke. Then in 1983, Jim Morrison and then coach and AD Bill Narduzzi, they asked me to lunch. We won't talk about how lunch went. We won't talk about Jim's ride back to school that day. But they turned around and wanted me to be on the executive board of the Penguin Club. Now, from then, everything broke loose. This is the stuff I did, traveling with Coach Tressel, the places we went, the people we met. It'd take 2, 3 books. And like Bo and I have talked, they'd have to be fictional because nobody would believe the different things that have happened and stuff. From being in the belly of a plane like Mac was talking about, to actually jumping out of a commercial airline on the ground, and trust me, getting back into it without the stairs is harder than getting out of it. Chasing down lost players that missed the bus, miss exits and stuff, retrieving illegal footballs from the opposing side, being the load master, as they referred to before, a gopher, the red hat. Dana and I talk about the red hat, all the fun we had doing that over the years. And then whatever else needed to be done, we did it. And that's what we were there for. But most importantly of all, I literally got to see thousands and thousands of student athletes leave this university a better person than when they got here. He says, to see the difference of when they come here as a freshman and then whether it's a 4 or 5 year turn, to see how they are when they leave is just amazing. They don't work by themselves, they work as a team. Some of them come on board being individuals, but by the time they're done, they're teammates. And the difference in them is unbelievable. And one of the things, and I'll still refer to them as coach, and that is they turn around and they try to be that team and they try to get these. That's what they're after. Get those championship rings. Started in football and it's gone to all the other sports. And that's something that you're going to have and cherish forever. There's no doubt about it. We have many bright spots in our area, but the 5 main ones to me are Mill Creek Park, not Metro, Mill Creek Park, the 910th Air Force Reserve, Youngstown State University, the diverse foods that we have in our area, and mostly the people we have in this area. I don't care where else I've traveled in that, there's nothing like the people around here. I never thought about ever receiving this award and being with the group of people that have gotten it before me. And you stop and think about it, it's that's not on my bucket list. It was never on my list, never even thought of getting to it, much less when I got the chance to be in the Hall of Fame. And when Jim Morrison asked me about it, I said, do what? What do you want me to do that for? And he turned around and he said, well, the time is right. He still hasn't told me what the time is right for, but he told me the time was right. So here we are. And believe me, it's really an honor, a privilege, and very humbling to be a part of this group with all the past recipients, except possibly Darryl Mincy. And I'm kidding, but one little story about Darryl. Danny O'Connell, and I were sitting on the sidelines at a away game, and Joe Malmaser's rule was, you do nothing to embarrass YSU in Youngstown. And we're standing there, and all of a sudden, our running back broke loose and got a little farther than we thought he was, and he's coming down the field, and we were on the far side of the team, and the referee comes running down, and right in front of us, he goes airborne. I mean, his hands hit the ground, his chin hit the ground, and we're looking at each other like, what the heck was that all about? He gets up and throws the flag at us. right away, we're looking at each other saying, who the heck did that? And we're like, okay, we're done. Travel time's over. We've had our fun. Turns around, Coach Tressel comes up saying, what the heck's the flag for? And he goes, sideline infraction, warning. And he goes, for what? And he goes, they tripped me. And we're like, what do you mean tripped you? You know, we're pointing, you know, we're just pointing at each other like he must have done it. We didn't know who did it. Well, go ask Daryl or Danny, and they will tell you that it's like something you see in a cartoon. I won't tell you who, but this person came running down the sideline, stepped in front of us, tripped them, spun back around, and disappeared. And when that referee got up, all he saw was the three of us. Luckily for cameras, they got it on tape, so we know who did it. He even denied it. And we did get a chance to still travel. Before, they've talked about thanking Arnold Collins. I remember when Arnold came to us and started this and he was very adamant. And he started before, 2-3 years back in the 80s and that. So we really, really want to turn around and thank Arnold Collins and the Collins family for everything they've done. It's real hard to try to thank everybody, but we're going to see what we can do here and see if I can't thank all the different people. People definitely that aren't here with us anymore. Bill Connect, Bill Leiden, Paula Jacobs, Norm Hagerman, Bernie Petrella, Jack Reel, Ray Travellini, Tom Mosier, Eleanor Tressel, Charles Ritter, Warren and Stan Huber, Wendy Gavalier, good old Father Richard Madden. People that have turned around and done a lot for this area, done a lot for the school. I especially want to thank Dave Collins, Tim Dickey, Paul Johnson, Bob Hendricks, and Dave Mosier for all their help and support over the years. Also, Brian Benyo, Sterling Williams, Ray Breyer, Dominic Marcianda, John Antonucci, Anthony Sadie, Danny Ahora, Paul and Laura Leiden, Sam Boak, Alex Benyo, Lee Hively, Doug Sweeney, Rick Hale, Rick Jumenheimer, the members of the Duquesne Hunting and Fishing Club. I think we got more people from the club here tonight than we do when we have our meetings. The Ice Castle Scholarship Fund, we've had a ball with that. The Penguin Club, the Youngstown Air Reserve Base Community Council. One thing we haven't heard tonight that we usually hear about is our veterans and all our military personnel. There's a couple more. Luke, why don't you give me a hand here with this, if you would. See if I can't get back on Tressel's schedule.
Ron and Nicole Strollo, Jim and Kathy Morrison, Joe and Olga Malmaser, Tom Morella, David Hinkle, John Hayden, Marty Hayden, Alvy Armstrong, Tim Gallo, Shannon and Nick Terone, Holly Jacobs, Neil McNally, Jackie Leviser, Paul McFadden, Rich White, Vince Sacco, Mike Orto, Rob Schmidt, John Brown, Tim Stewart, Danny O'Connell, Bo Pelini, Ron Stoops Jr., Carmen Basillo, Rich McNutt, Tim Marlowe, Roland Smith, Kyle Rivera, Shane Montgomery, Carl Pelini, TJ Hollowell, John Murphy, Carrie Anderson, Chief John Bashara, and all the YSU police force. Trevor Parks, Rick Love, CR and Rosemary Smith, Gwen and John Darnell, Joe Dickey, Harry Michelle, Bruce Zolden, Jeff Crystal, John Ryderowitz, J.P. Dallaman, Bill and Carol Weimer, Jamie Dietz, Bill Vanetti, Jack Lambert, Dan Becker, Ben Kyle, Jerry and Billy Lida, Bob Fredericks, Bob Hannon, Judge Robert and Kay Millich, Bryce Miner, Josh Press, Charlie Brown, Chuck and Lynn Booth, Lee Kohler, Daryl and Vicky Mincy, Dana Ballish, Dave Brown, Ed Reese, Eric Watson, Jason Wolf, Frank and Norma Watson, Greg Sawyer, Gus Giannis, Gus and Elsie Regas, Paul Williams, Jim and Ellen Tressel, John and Paula Jakubek, Judy A. Deibel, Larry and Lori Everly, Mike Faggart, Randy Dunn, Ryan McBride, Matt Shaw, Steve Scott, Tom Cregan, Trevor Parks, and Toot.
Thank you, Luke. For those of you that don't know Luke, believe me, he's Mr. YSU. He's, I don't know, how many years? 4 now? 5? 7. Okay. 7 years. one of these days, I don't know, he's either going to be the president of the place or he's going to be on the board or something. I'd also like to have my 2 tables of guests stand if they would, and we'll do like Rob said, if we would hold the applause till they're all done. I have Troy and Christy Rhodes, who used to be the commander more or less at the base. Chrissy runs St. E's HR department. The best neighbors in the world. You want to talk about what you need when you need it. Glenn and Blanche Orr. Judge Shirley and Bob Christian. I knew Bob before Shirley did, and we still haven't told her what we know. My sister Debbie and her husband Jim Hatherell from over in Alliance. We got Joe Sadie from the Upstairs Lounge. We got Rick Hale from Winter Aviation. And then I got my family. I got Jonathan, Liz, and soon to be Jarrett. And last but not least, my best friend and wife, Holly. Thank you all for being here. Steve alluded to it before, Annette, and Holly had the chance to speak to the graduating class of South Range a couple years ago at a Ruritan meeting, and she told them that when you're done with school, whether it be high school or college, don't forget. Don't forget them. When you got the time, give the time. When you got the money, give the money. Can't always do both, but don't forget where you came from. The following is the philosophy of Charles Schulz, the creator of Peanuts comic. A couple questions here. Just ponder about them. You don't have to answer them. I'd like you all to name the 5 wealthiest people in the world. The last 5 Heisman Trophy winners. The last 5 winners of the Miss America contest. The 10 people who have won the Nobel or Pulitzer Prize, and they deserved it. Name a half dozen Academy Award winners for Best Actor or Actress. Name the last decade's worth of World Series winners. We probably have a couple that can do that one, but that's beside the point. The point is, most of us don't remember the headlines of yesterday. There are no second-rate achievers. They are the best in their fields. But the applause dies, the awards tarnish, and the achievements are forgotten. Accolades and certificates are buried with their owners. Here's another set of questions. List a few teachers who aided your journey through school. Name 3 friends who have helped you through difficult times. Name 5 people who have taught you something worthwhile. Think of a few people who have made you feel appreciated and special. Think of 5 people that you enjoy spending time with. The lesson? The people who make a difference in your life are not the ones with the most credentials, the most money, or the most awards. They simply are the ones who care the most about you. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And in the words of Fred Beshara, who years ago was honored at the other side of town, turned around and after almost an hour and a half, 2 hours worth of accolades given to him, got up and said, thank you, and thank you. God bless you, God bless YSU, and go Penguins. How'd I do, Coach?
Keep it there. You can leave this here, I'll use it next year. I mean, I gotta look at that court one more time, hang on. I gotta look at that court. Maybe I gotta take a picture of it. Look at that court. That's going to my office tomorrow. That's a thing of beauty. Dave, congratulations, by the way. Now look, Dave doesn't do things small. You know what I'm saying? Dave does things from the heart and he does them big. You know, the football scoreboard wasn't nearly as big as it is today if it wasn't for Dave Deibel. Dave's the guy you invite over on the 4th of July for a cookout. You got that little grill cooking, right? Not Dave, he does a bonfire. Now that's a fire. That's what Dave does. He does it from the heart, does it because he cares. You know, the best thing, I don't know if anybody's ever won this award and has many props as Dave Deibel just had. Or if anybody had an assistant like Luke. Next year, Luke, you can MC this thing. We'll be out by 7:45. All right, just a couple pieces of business before we cut you loose here tonight. There are a lot of events for you to attend here at Youngstown State over the next few months. And get started Thursday night. There is a basketball doubleheader at Beagley. Okay, the YSU women play Valparaiso at 5:15. The men will take on Wright State at 7:45. There's another doubleheader for you at Beagley Center on Saturday. The women will play UIC at 4:35. The guys take on Northern Kentucky at 7:05. The baseball team still out on the road. They will head west this weekend. They will play a 4-game series at Fresno State. The softball team is in Greensboro, North Carolina this weekend to play at the UNCG tournament against Lehigh, Iona, and NC Greensboro. The men's and women's tennis teams will be competing at Buffalo on Friday. The women then get a chance to return home. They'll have a home match against Maryland, Baltimore County on Saturday. Best of luck to the swimming and diving team. They're in the Horizon League Championships tomorrow through Saturday at Oakland University in Michigan. And best of luck to the men's and women's indoor track and field teams. They compete in the Horizon League Championships this weekend in our Watt. So we hope to see you at a YSU event. Thank you for coming tonight. Hope you enjoyed yourself. We'll see you at a YSU game very soon.